Hey everybody, it's Adam, and welcome to my kitchen. So, we're all stuck inside and looking for things to do, and most people have been taking up baking, and other people have been cooking, and I thought, what better time than the present than to do something I've always wanted to do, which was have my own cooking show. The first question is, what do we cook? And it turns out that today is actually National Carbonara Day. And I just so happen to have my very own carbonara recipe that I know like the back of my hand, so I thought it would be a good first choice for a cooking show. It's a very tasty dish, very straightforward, only a handful of ingredients, most of which you probably already have in your kitchen, which is a good thing because you should only be going grocery shopping once a week. I've tried a bunch of recipes over the years and I haven't always had success with them, so the recipe I've developed is pretty straightforward and I dare say foolproof, knock on wood. Anyway, the point is, really tasty, really easy. I'm gonna teach you how it's done. So welcome to the first episode of this cooking show. I don't know, we'll come up with a clever title and maybe some graphics and some music. Oh God, what was I thinking? Well, this is it. This is it. This is literally all it takes to make this delicious sauce. You need some pork, some eggs, some cheese, some pepper, and then if you want to get crazy, a little onion and garlic.
Whoa.
It's not technically traditional, but well, more on that in a sec. The traditional way of actually making this is with Pecorino Romano cheese, but I like Parmesan. I think Pecorino Romano kind of tastes like feet.
It tastes like feet.
The other traditional ingredient that we've swapped out is guanciale, which is actually, it's pork jowl. You know, it sounds gross, but it actually tastes really good, but it's kind of hard to find unless you like have an Italian grocer or anything. It's fine, it was good, I liked it. Another traditional option is pancetta, which I used to use until one night I ran out and I just happened to have some bacon in the fridge, so I just subbed it in and realized, oh, I like this way more. The bacon adds a nice salty smokiness. It's what I prefer. Again, I realize it's not traditional. This is by no means the traditional method of making this dish. Speaking of which, onion and garlic. Original dish does not have either of those, but what's pasta without garlic and onion? And onion and garlic together, I mean, ooh, it's delicious. This recipe is actually a riff on the recipe that was made at Carluccio's, an Italian restaurant in London.
I am Antonio Carluccio. Welcome to my kitchen.
That was owned by one of the mentors of the Naked Chef himself, Mr. Jamie Oliver.
Hi guys.
I learned it from somebody who worked there, and then again I sort of tweaked it and riffed on it and got it to a place where I really like it, and I make it, you know, almost at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, sometimes every week. The other nice thing about it is that this is essentially breakfast food. I mean, you've got bacon and eggs. So it's one of those few meals that actually could be eaten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which I may have done before. Oh, and then another thing, the pasta we're gonna use. Traditionally, you would probably find this as spaghetti carbonara, and it would be made with spaghetti. But I started using rigatoni because I like the way the sauce gets into the ridges, and then in the little holes, the bacon gets in there, and then it hides, and then you're like taking a bite, and then the bacon pops out, and it's a tasty delight. Yeah, no, it's wonderful. But obviously, if you don't have rigatoni, you can just make this with whatever pasta you have in your pantry. So yeah, that's enough chat. Let's get this stuff all together, and let's get cooking. All right, so here are all the ingredients spread out, and this is not an ingredient, this is just for me. Believe me, I need this. You don't want to know how many times I did the intro. Okay, so couple of things. I've spared you the footage of me chopping because, well, for starters, I don't have a second camera operator because I'm here by myself, so I literally have a DSLR set up and it's probably not in focus, and I'm not confident it's even working. But also, too, I am really embarrassed by my chopping skills and I couldn't bear to show them publicly. And, well, honestly, if you don't know how to chop stuff, as Alton Brown would say, that's a whole other show. Anyway, one of the things I love most about this recipe is it scales really easily if you're making it for one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. So tonight I wanted to do 3 servings. So first things first, that means 3 egg yolks. You can see one of them has already sort of But yeah, just the yolk of the egg. The whites you can save and make an egg white omelet if you want to be like Jerry Seinfeld, or you can just toss them. Although we really should be saving everything, but I don't even particularly like eggs, and I'm rambling. So for the bacon, I do usually 2 rashers, which is the fancy word for the strips, per serving. So in this case, 6 pieces of bacon, and then I just sort of roughly chop that up, as you can see. For the onion, I normally just do 1 onion. And then the garlic, I did 2 cloves, 2 regular sized cloves. Again, it really depends on how garlicky you like it. For the Parmesan, I just grate a lot. I grate it with a rotary grater because this is so much easier than using a box grater, which my knuckles are already raw enough from washing my hands. So we got 3 eggs, 6 pieces of bacon, an obscene amount of Parmesan cheese, 1 onion, 2 garlic cloves, buttload of pepper. Let's start putting it all together, shall we? All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna assemble the sort of cheese and egg mixture. Again, I want to apologize if my framing is off, if this is out of focus, if it looks terrible. Again, I'm the only one here. I'm literally doing this by myself. I don't have a camera operator. It's very hard to do a cooking show without someone actually able to film. So bear with me. First things first, we're gonna whisk the eggs slightly, just sort of to. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just sort of whisking them like that, and then we're gonna add what can only be described as a metric crap ton of pepper. And I know I showed this off because it looks nicer, but it's kind of too fine. I want the good stuff. And this happens to have the Naked Chef himself previously mentioned Jamie Oliver.
Hi, guys.
Son of a... All right, so here's what happened. I was using this cool app called Filmic Pro, which will allow me to shoot 4K and punch in, and just I wanted to make this thing professional. And did I mention I don't have a camera operator and I'm here by myself? So anyway, the app screwed up, files got corrupted, and we lost stuff. So I'm now switching to the stock camera app, and well, here's what you missed. Essentially, I took that egg mixture with the pepper, and I added about a half a cup of Parmesan cheese until it got to this sort of thick paste. It wasn't quite thick enough, so I used a little more Parmesan cheese. I told you, like, you're not necessarily going to use it all, but we use most of it. And now it's about the right consistency. It's I don't really know how to describe it beyond just like gloop, but yeah. Anyway, use about a half cup and you'll be fine. And remember, we want to use the fresh, real Parmesan cheese, not box stuff, not pre-grated. Trust me, it's going to make all the difference in the world. I know that we're living under quarantine, but that doesn't mean we can be animals. Okay, I'm going to try and get set up again, and we'll move on. Okay, we're back. So I got the water going. I know I said that you can make this sauce in the time it takes for the water to get going, but let's be honest, this was never going to be a smooth operation, so the water, I figured I'd just get going now, even though I've already done all this. But again, normally when I do this, I start the water, start making everything else, and then this all comes together really nicely. But time is not on our side. I'm just preheating this pan. It's pretty much ready to go. I just sort of test it with my hand. Bacon goes in. We're going to cook the bacon first, and this will take, well, it'll probably take several minutes. But the reason I cook the bacon first is we're then going to cook the onions and the garlic in the pan drippings of the bacon. So it just, again, it imparts that smoky, salty flavor to the rest of the ingredients and makes everything come together nicely. So as the bacon cooks, just sort of do your best to break everything up into individual pieces, just so it cooks more evenly. Oh, and our water is boiled, so I'm just going to turn this down because it will come back up to temp pretty quickly, and I'm not ready to put my pasta in yet. Okay, so the bacon we're cooking over about like medium heat. Just be careful because it will sputter, and you don't want to get hot bacon grease in the eye. You'll know it's ready when it's all crispy. Like I said, it usually takes like 7 minutes, 10 minutes maybe, depending on how much you have, how hot your pan is. You don't want it to be overcooked, but you also don't want it to be undercooked and kind of rubbery, because when you add it to the sauce, it's going to soak up a little bit of liquid and then it's going to get extra rubbery. So you do really want to take it to a nice sort of fully cooked, crispy stage. And yeah, I'll show you what that looks like once it's done. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep on it. This is a horrible idea. I don't know why I thought I could do this on my own and not practice. Anyway. Here's another secret to cooking bacon. It will cook faster and better if you cook it in its own, for lack of a better term, grease. So just make sure you sort of have, yeah, we've got all this grease here, but we really want to get the bacon to like sit in there, and it'll crisp up so much quicker and nicer. And this is almost ready, so I'm going to take it out. Take the bacon out. Normally I'd use a slotted spoon for this, but I don't have one anymore because mine broke, and I can't leave the house. And just show you what this looks like, so you can see. Very crisp. Okay, well, it's not as crisp as it looks, I guess, but it doesn't matter. So there's a lot of bacon fat here, probably more than I need. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that, spoon it off. If you have too much, it's just going to be it's kind of a mess. To this grease, which is probably the right temperature now, I'm going to turn this back up to about, just under medium. And I'm going to add my onions, then my garlic. I'm going to saute the onions first. That way the garlic doesn't burn. Let those go. Oh, that smells so good. And what you want to do here is we're not looking to caramelize the onions. We're really just looking to sort of sweat them and saute them, get them nice and soft, fully cooked, and get rid of that like acrid onioniness. But we're not doing a full caramelization. That would take way too long. I'm also going to turn my water back up because we're now going to be good for time, hopefully. And once that's back up, I can add my pasta. You do want to kind of keep them moving so that they don't burn. Okay, so while my onions go, I'm going to add my pasta to my boiling water. This is, like I said, it's a big pot of water, and I've added about a handful of salt. You do want to salt your pasta water. That's sort of the number one mistake people make. And then to actually figure out how much pasta I'm going to make, this is a little trick I developed. I get out my serving dish that I'm going to serve in, and then I sort of measure out. Ooh, oh God. I sort of measure out the serving amount into the bowl so that I know that I'm not making too much or too little. So that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, honestly, there's not that much left here, so I'm just going to cook it all. And for this one, it says al dente in 12 minutes, so I'm going to set the timer for 11. And I can smell that my onions are starting to caramelize a little bit, so I need to get them moving around. That's okay, though. They'll still be good. That's all going to be good flavor. And now, to that, I'm going to add my garlic. Get that in the pan. Scrape that off. It's gone a little sticky because of the Allison. My Bon Appetit viewers know what that means.
And it makes a thing called Allison. And the Allison is what's really, really good for you in garlic.
Again, I'm gonna turn this down because it seems a little hot. Just sort of keep that moving and going until the garlic is nice and soft, the onions are nice and soft and golden. Gold! Okay, pasta's cooking away. Onions and garlic are getting to know each other. They're pretty much, I would say they're more or less ready. Here comes the secret and the key to not screwing up this sauce. The number one problem people make with this sauce is that they add their eggs to a hot pan, which causes the eggs to scramble, and you basically have scrambled eggs. So the secret here to avoiding that is you're now going to turn the heat off, remove the pan from the heat, and I'm actually going to remove this from the pan entirely because the carryover cooking will overcook what we got here. So I'm just going to put that on a nice plate. So we're basically done with that from here on out. We're not going to come back to this pan. You can if you don't have a serving dish. We're going to actually assemble everything in the dish we're going to serve the pasta in. If you didn't, that's fine. Set the pan aside, let it cool down, because again, the last thing you want to do is add the egg mixture to a hot pan. It will cause the eggs to curdle, or not curdle, scramble. Now, by adding the cheese to the eggs, we sort of prevent that a little bit, but this really is sort of the key, is that what's actually going to cook the sauce is the residual heat from the pasta and the pasta water that we add. So you're not actually using heat from a pan or anything like that to cook the sauce. It's literally just residual heat from the pasta itself. Okay, so the pasta's got a couple more minutes to go, so let's start assembling everything in our pasta bowl. So we're just gonna add and then the bacon goes in there. Just sort of get that there. And then the egg and cheese mixture will be the last thing to go in, just because we really want that to go nicely with the pasta once it's ready. Okay, so there's about a minute left here. I'm just gonna try some of this because cooking times, it always kind of varies, and I know how I like my pasta, so. Yeah, all right, we'll be good in 1 minute. Wow. What you're gonna do now is you're gonna wanna transfer your pasta into your bowl, and I'm gonna use a spider to do this. You can use a slotted spoon. A spider just allows you to get more. The thing you don't want to do is just dump the pasta water down the drain. Pasta water is full of starch. It helps sort of emulsify sauces. It's really, really good stuff. I only recently started doing this, and my pasta game has been upped incredibly since. So just dumping all this in here. I am going to make a mess doing this. I've never managed to do this without making a mess, so I apologize in advance. I think that's just about everything. I'll probably forget a few little noodles in there. Okay, we're good. And then I'm gonna turn that off. 1 second to spare. Okay, so we got that going. Now comes the part where we're just gonna add the cheese mixture here straight to the hot pasta. Or pasta. I don't know why I've been saying pasta. I normally say pasta. I feel like people at work give me a hard time about saying pasta, even though that's the Canadian way. And then you're just gonna basically toss this all together, and this is the part that always ends up making a mess. Now, if your sauce is too thick, you can add a splash of the pasta water, the cooking water that we kept. That's why we keep it, so that it helps. Again, it sort of brings everything together. This is pretty good. I'm just maybe gonna add like a tiny little splash, just to help it come together, but it doesn't really need it. And again, you're just sort of bringing it all together. I'm gonna win no points for presentation on this dish, but honestly, the fact that we got through this, that's saying a lot. There you have it. A big old bowl of carbonara for National Carbonara Day. Pretty straightforward. A lot easier than it was to actually shoot this video. I'm just gonna eat it straight from the bowl because I can. Not bad. Could use a little more cheese, but I'll do that after. So thanks for watching. This has been the first episode of my cooking show, tentatively titled COVID Cooking, unless I come up with something better.
Nope.
I'm definitely never gonna do this again without an actual camera operator or help, because this was really difficult. But this was really easy. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane, and eat well. We'll see you next time. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but this recipe really is